The man with the golden voice isn't with us tonight, Brother James. Brother BJ ain't with us tonight.
Wow. Okay.
So how you doing?
I'm doing well, my brother. I pray that you're doing well. Hope that cough settled down a little bit. Don't get too excited.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm trying not to, brother, but there's so much going on, and I'm really grateful, first of all, to Almighty God, Allah, and His divine servants for blessing us with the opportunity to do this.
Yes, sir.
To be able to represent the truth and to be able to represent being a strong voice and giving good information to our people. So we got a great show tonight for you brothers and sisters. We're waiting for a couple people to call in.
Okay.
We want you to really be in a kind of introspective, thoughtful mood, in particular in this first hour, because we're going to deal with some subjects, or a subject that's important, but we don't want it to be volatile. We don't want it to be emotional. We don't want it to be kind of immediate reaction. And we hope to, Brother James, bring some thoughtful conversations to that subject, right?
Well, I think anything we talk about, brother, is for the benefit of our people, and that we should always be thoughtful, introspective, and look at externally, and just take in, like you said, information. Knowledge is power, as they say. So whenever we are blessed to have information, we have to analyze it, put it in the blender, see how it comes out, and put it to the best use of for our people and the advancement of our people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, absolutely. Go ahead, Brother James. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you didn't. I was just going to say, because we have great leadership, particularly coming out of the Nation of Islam. We have great minds that is thinking in a way, and trying to think more in a way out of the box of this world. As the minister said, whoever gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes the circumference of your activity. So we as black people have been educated by the Caucasian. And so everything that we do, he can basically predict it, because we're not going to exercise any activity outside the confines of the limited knowledge that he has given us. And so,
absolutely,
with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the knowledge that he presented, it knocked down the walls, the barriers of our thinking, and allowed us into, whether we knew it or not, or believed it or not, into the thinking of God. And so that's why that revelation was so powerful and important. And that's why the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is confronted so vigorously by the enemy today, because that knowledge right there has released us. If we would just take advantage and acknowledge it, put it to practice, it releases us from the confines of this man's world and allows us to see beyond this world. But we have to get rid of the fear that he instilled with us, as our lesson teaches us, that he put it to us. He instilled fear in us when we were little babies. And so that whole experience of the Atlantic slave trade kind of set us in motion down a path that the enemy set for us. And so, to your point, we want to deliver knowledge. We want to free our people of this world's thinking and expand our ability to think beyond the confines of what he has kind of prescribed for us in our activities.
Yeah, Brother James, one of the things that really hurt me, the 3 servicemen that were killed by the bombing of that base. My heart goes out to them and to their families, because that's a really horrific loss.
Yes, sir.
And that's just that's just really essentially how I feel. It is a horrific loss from people just trying to live their lives as best they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we can argue with policy, but when I see any black person lose their lives, man, that's painful.
Yes, sir. And this man has created an environment, an atmosphere where we view one of our only outlets is the military, because it's the place of opportunity where we can be all we couldn't be in the hood. We can be in the military. And as this world closes down, one of the things that the prophecy talks about is the great wars that would arise. Yes. And that is exactly what we should anticipate. That's why every black person in this country, they should either be on the internet or in Detroit on February 25th to hear what the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has to deliver, because he's going to be speaking into the prophetic word as it is actually being lived. And the things we see, you say you feel bad about those three brothers. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that, in a few days they're going to go out by the tens of thousands, and they're going to be coming back in body bags by the thousands. That is paraphrasing it. I'm not getting it exactly, but that's what we're looking at, and that's the day we're in, and that's why I say our people have to kind of, our people love the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan, including everybody that's in the nation, but even us in the nation, we have to get more in line, get more in tune, get very busy now, because this what we're seeing, in my opinion, it's closing, and the minister's words in Detroit coming up, just as when he delivered in Detroit, COVID just took over. Coming out of Detroit now with the war looming, I anticipate that the war is going to heat up. I anticipate that the minister's words is going to anger a lot of the leadership. Hopefully, our black leaders won't, turn against him in terms of the attacks that's going to be coming from the enemy on him after he delivers what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Allah has given him to say at Savior's Day. But we know whenever he speaks, there's going to be a barrage of attacks, and that we can't fall into the okie doke and accept what the enemy is saying about what the minister said. Number one, you just go and listen to his words for yourself. But the way they will frame it will be framed in a way that will make people wonder, well, did he really say that or not? So we have to be very attentive, man. This is a very dangerous day.
Yeah, and then the new Final Call newspaper is out, and if you look in the chat, I'm kind of putting some stuff in there. So the minister will be speaking. That's February 25th, right? In Detroit, and you'll be able to come to Detroit. Or Allah willing, you'll be able to hear him, through the live stream and through the magic of technology, if they don't disrupt it, which they have been known to do.
Yeah.
So brothers and sisters, go ahead, Brother James, go ahead.
Yeah, and another thing is that we know when war broke out in the 40s, they had to go and arrest the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on false charges, because he was out there preaching against the war, just as they killed Dr. King for words about various things, including the war. But we can maybe be on guard. Look, and if they did it to Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they're going to be looking at the Honorable Minister Farrakhan to take him off the scene so that he can't preach against a war that they are putting our brothers and sisters in danger of. And like you said, we weep for those who are coming back, but the minister has advised us many years to come out of there, come out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to also talk about the passing of a great soldier, Sister Viola Plummer. She's the chairperson of the December 12th movement, major movement out of New York, and really she was a national force, man. She passed on January 15th, but if you go to finalcall.com, you can read this article about her, very great article, The Magnificent Homecoming of Viola Plummer, matriarch of the movement. See, let me say, and it's by the great writer Nayaba Arende out of New York. Brothers and sisters, we will never be free if we are waiting on people to be acknowledged by the enemy. We will never be free if in our minds, if the white man doesn't stamp that person, there's something wrong. Or if they're not in the white man's media, there's something wrong. No, man, we got it wrong. All of the great ones among us were condemned by the suppressor while they were alive. Some of them they remade after they died, but they certainly opposed them, had them under surveillance, tried to destroy their lives, didn't want them to have a livelihood, like Paul Robeson, the great actor, singer, and freedom fighter from among us, who died broken and torn. See, we got to understand, brothers and sisters, look, when you got an enemy, your enemy is not going to help you get sick. That's just true. That's just true. Your enemy is not going to help you get sick. Okay, let's bring in Brother Barney and his lovely wife.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam. Brother Barney and Sister Dora.
Dora.
Well, Brother Barney, Sister Dora, welcome to the show. Let's get right to the business. So why don't you start? We can start with either subject. We want to start talking about the brother. And why don't you start with him?
Yes, sir.
Because I want to make sure that we talk about this thing that your lovely wife is doing this Friday. Okay, so let's start with the brother and that appeal. Then we'll come to Sister Dora and what she's doing this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. I just want to thank you again, you, Brother BJ, Brother James, for allowing us to honor these sacred airways with this information that you're giving, and we hope to be able to do the same. We're here to announce that our beloved brother Eddie X. McClendon, 95 years of age, has passed. He's come to the end of his divine shift. You know, they said, like, when the elders pass, it's like losing a library.
Exactly.
This brother, what's so amazing with him, he is a part of the Nation of Islam, Elite 50 Plus. He, at 80, so almost going to his 90s, was the committee secretary for us. Brother James can attest to this. And that brother used to do the minutes of the meeting, memory. And he would give the names, he would give the subject matter, the resolutions adopted, and he wouldn't even look at the notes. And so we were all in marvel of him. He was born in North Carolina back in 1928. His grandfather and his grandmother were slaves, and the slave master allowed them to marry. That's how he got his father and his mother. And so, but they passed early in his life. And from there, he went to the military, the Army, from 1951 to 1953. And one of the most interesting things about our brother is that in 1959, he graduated from Winston-Salem Teachers College. That's a lot of those out there know that the most honorable, the honorable Farrakhan, he was at Winston-Salem Teachers College in 1953. And I was
Brother Barney, let's share with the audience what's needed right now in terms of brother. Share with the audience the support that's needed right now, so we can give our brother a fitting homegoing.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yes, right now we are because he was not able to have insurance after 85, we're raising money for him. Emmanuel Funeral Home is only charging us $5,500. We've raised $1,500 right now. And so we just need whatever donations people could send. I don't want them to get it confused with the Zelle and so forth, cash app you have. So I want them to either text me, 312-961-3135. It's 312-961-3135. Or email at actualfacts@att.net. Actualfacts@att.net. That way I can send them any information on Cash App and Zelle, because I want to make sure that any Cash App and Zelle you put on there is yours. So at this time, but we're gonna have the service on Monday, February the 5th, and would be at Emmanuel's Chapel Funeral Home, and that's at 5112 Southwestern Avenue. 5112 Southwestern Avenue. 10 o'clock is the visitation. 11 o'clock is the service. One of those who will be there helping with the service will be Brother Al Sampson. Al Sampson had nothing but love for this brother's character and service to the Christian community. And then from there, yes, sir.
Brother Barney, because I want to put something in the chat. I want to make sure I get it right.
Yes, sir.
Hold on 1 second. Oh, boy.
Take your time.
312. Your number? 312?
312-961-3135.
Very good. So, brothers and sisters, that's in the chat. So, Brother Barney, now you brought somebody with you.
Yes, sir.
As well. Now, who is this wonderful person you got with you?
Man, what could I say? To help me.
To help me. Go ahead, man.
There you go.
26 years of divine help me. And
Go ahead.
She's here with me. There's an event coming up. And, I'm going to let her do her little spiel because, I've been working with her. And she's,
yes, sir.
She's, working with her and trying to get these things going. And I don't want to step on what she's doing. So let me go.
Let's go, Sister Dora.
Let her do her thing.
The name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and his messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and our reminder and Messiah, and I miss the Honorable Minister to both Brother Naba'a, Brother James, Brother BJ, and the VOM family, in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. I thank you, Brother Naba'a and Brother BJ, for inviting me on your show again. Rosebud Reflections, affordable, modest wear, fashion-driven accessories, is hosting Treat Yourself Friday, and we'll treat you to a mini meal. This event will take place this Friday, February 2nd, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at my new beautiful store location at 331 East 69th Street in Chicago, Illinois, 60637. So, sisters, kick up your heels and purchase something pretty for yourself because you deserve it. And the reason why I'm hosting this event is because I lost the holiday shopping season because of 2 emergency relocation circumstances. So I want the sisters to encourage the sisters to come out and shop at my new store location. And sisters will get a chance to shop modest fashion, clothing, jewelry, handbags, skincare, much more at this event.
Very good. Sister Dora, give us your web address.
My website is www.rosebudreflectionshop.com. Okay.
Well, will I say that one more time?
www.rosebud, ROSEBUDS, reflections with the S, shop, SHOP.com.
Very good. I just want to say, Sister, we wish you all the best, and brothers and sisters, come on out. What time and what day again, sister?
Yeah.
We want to make sure they know this now.
Right.
Yes, sir. It's this Friday, February the 2nd, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So what we're going to do, you treat yourself, and we're going to treat you to a mini meal.
Wow. Okay. Okay, well, sister, wow. Anything else you want to add?
I'm just looking forward to seeing, my sisters and the brothers are invited as well, because they can come and treat their wife.
Oh, it is.
That's right. That's right.
I'm on. You sell, Sister Dora, you sell like clothing items, jewelry, beauty products, etc., right?
Yes, sir. I sell modest fashion clothing, fashion jewelry, handbags. We sell skincare products. We sell hats, scarves, gloves. We're like a mini department store. We carry a lot of items. And I'm just
and you had to relocate out of no fault of your own, though. That's what I want to kind of point out of your relocation was out of no fault of your own. There was some emergency stuff that came up, correct?
Yes, I had 2 emergency relocations. Our first location, which we had been at, we had 2 stores. We had been at that location for 5 years, and then we had some problems there with, tenants, living water around and things like that. So then we moved to another location, and we had a successful grand opening. That was on November 8th. But then we had to move from that location, so we moved to this location, and we opened our doors the first Saturday of January, where we hosted for customers.
All right.
Yes.
Sister Dora, as you take your leave, give us a phone number now where we can get you. Give us a phone number.
My phone number is area code 773-629-7726.
Well, one more time, Sister Dora.
773-629-7726.
Sister, thank you, and thank you, Brother Barney, for coming on. Service, whatever we can do to boost you, we will. May Allah bless you.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Brothers and sisters, look, we got a Muslim sister who's an entrepreneur. Check us out in the chat. We want you to come on out and support her. She's got great stuff, man. Shoes, purses. Stylish stuff. You know what I mean? I was going to say, Brother James, I need to take my daughters past there because she really offers stuff that's really beautiful. And it's regal. But it's not like old fuddy-duddy you want to
No. Right, exactly.
It's
royal.
like, wow. You know what I mean?
Royal.
It's royal.
Exactly. Yeah,
and it's stylish right down to the modern times.
Hey, man, it's modest and there's some material to it, Yeah.
So, look, Brother James, we're going to get into the next thing I want to talk about. Brothers and sisters, look, something that we heard about, and I think I'll put the link in the chat, where you should be able to see this event for yourself. But the National Newspaper Publishers Association, which is the BlackPress, basically it's the black newspapers, their group, their organization, their association, if you will. Each year they have a midwinter conference. So they had a midwinter conference this year, and they had it in Florida. And they had a session, a national town hall meeting on African American and Jewish relations. So we're going to get into that, but I want to say the first thing I did, brothers and sisters, was invite Dr. Ben Chavis, who is the executive director of the association, to come on and talk to us about what it was about. And I invited Bobby Henry, who is the chairman or chairperson of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, which represents the interests of over 200 black newspapers right now. Unfortunately, I didn't hear from either one of them. But brothers and sisters, it was interesting to me, not only the subject matter, but who was there. So one of the first people I saw when I looked at this, and I just put it in the chat, you can see it on live, you can see it on YouTube, and you can judge for yourself, right? Was Debbie Wasserman Schultz, congressperson, Democrat, Jewish woman, and she was talking about Black-Jewish relations. You know, Brother James, I was really stunned when I listened to the whole program, and I listened to it for probably, at least three different times, right? And then they had a representative, not Sevillia, from the Anti-Defamation League. I'm just going to say this, brothers and sisters, just as a matter of fact. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, nor the ADL are friends to Black people. Why do you say that, Brother Naba'a? Well, Debbie Wasserman Schultz has been a leading attacker of Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, as well as other Black leaders. You remember the Women's March in 2019? You remember all that heat that our sister Tamika Mallory came under? Debbie Wasserman Schultz was, if not the main instigator, she's in the top three. And she came out and she attacked Tamika Mallory. Now, this sister had been going around the country. You know, Breonna Taylor, you remember her in Louisville? All these different cases with Black people getting shot and killed by police. Tamika Mallory and her group were going around the country, you know, just trying to fight for justice for our people. But because Tamika Mallory in 2018, now listen to this, brothers and sisters. In 2018, Tamika Mallory went to Savior's Day annual convention in Chicago, and she sat and watched the minister speak. And so then Tamika Mallory was attacked because they demanded that she denounce the minister, and they just kept pressuring her, even though she was one of the driving forces behind the not the Million Women's March, but the Women's March, right? The ADL, we know what we should know by now. The Nation of Islam has a major lawsuit against these people for their lies, their slander, their misinformation, and you can get that at NOI.org. You can get the full court documents. You go to finalcall.com, you can get the news reports. And I'm going to close on that with this. Attacking the minister is like attacking the point person, right? If you can attack the point person and take him out, then that means you can now get the others. So they attack him, and they use these lies against him, right? 40 years, you can't find one incident where we have touched a Jewish person, denied a Jewish person their rights, committed crimes against them, called for them to be boycotted. We haven't done any of that. As a matter of fact, as Muslims, if we were to see someone defacing a synagogue, it is our duty as Muslims to stop them. Did you know that?
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Because in our holy book, it says that we are to respect all houses where God's name is remembered. So there was no discussion of the minister during this town hall, which I thought was, you can't have a discussion without talking about Minister Farrakhan. And this whole nostalgia about the 60s and the 70s. But I got a book I want you to check out. And it happens to be by a Jewish gentleman. Okay? But the title of the book is this, okay? The title of the book, and the title of the book is Black Power, Jewish Politics, Reinventing the Alliance in the 1960s, right? The author of this book is Mark Dollinger, who happens to be Caucasian and Jewish. He says that the narrative that we have been taught about the civil rights movement is literally untrue. And in his book, he goes into why it's untrue. And he asks different questions like if Jews and Jewish organizations came out during the civil rights movement because they recognized the common struggle, he said that the civil rights movement should have happened a decade earlier. He said because by the 1950s, Jews had largely been had made progress in American society. He said, so what you had happening, one of the things he says, is that you had Jewish people now exercising their power and defining it as Jewish power, Jewish political power, which is something they had not done heretofore. So check that out for brothers and sisters. This is very, very serious to me. It's very serious. Because if you look, people like Tamika Mallory, Kyrie Irvin, Congressman Danny Davis, I mean, you name them. The brother that does America's Got Talent, can't think of his name. But all Whoopi Goldberg has been attacked, Dave Chappelle has been attacked. Every time they've been attacked, it is because they have expressed a view. They have never said they hate Jewish people. They have never said they want to hurt Jewish people. They just have a different view on a subject, and most often that subject is Israel, right? And because they have a different view, they're shut down, they're called all these ugly names, and then they're hurt by this. So keep an eye on the Nation of Islam lawsuit. Brother James, you want to get in?
Yeah, what I would just add to that, brother, is I agree. Well, for me, when I listened to it, number one, I was very disappointed because as a journalist, I mean, I'm a journalist. I've been to the NNPA meetings before. It's they're all publishers. They all have reporters. Many of them have reporters. And this is a news event. This is a news event. For me, it's like, as you mentioned, with the ADL being there and the minister being like public enemy number one to them, how does that question not come up? And if the ADL is willing to come to a table, well, there have been many years that the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has offered, let's have a conversation, not behind doors, but in the public, where we can present our scholars, our case, and they can try to defend their case. But that has not been. This was an opportunity if it was something that they wanted to happen, where that offer could have been made to do that. Obviously, it would have been rejected, we know. But to me, I was very disappointed in terms of having a meeting, because otherwise, what is it for? Yes, there's some things going on where there have been attacks on synagogues, etc. But as you mentioned, there have been attacks on mosques. But if we see anybody defacing a place where God's name is mentioned, as the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has taught us and demands of us, we are to go and defend that facility. And so, but the Honorable Minister Farrakhan will answer a lot of questions on Savior's Day. We will come out with clarity, not only on this, but on the other issues that are pertinent today, like the lawsuit, like the whole issue of the war in Gaza and what's to come out of that. So, that's my thing. It's like all eyes should be on Detroit. Why they held that meeting, I don't know. I would definitely say that there are going to be some receipts that they're going to be called to answer for, because when the minister speaks in Detroit, it's going to be earth-shattering. I can guarantee you that, because every time he speaks, it's earth-shattering. And so those who attend meetings like that, they may have had a cordial meeting on whatever date they held that, but coming out of that after February 25th, there's going to be a call made and said, hey, we delivered to some goods for you. Here's the receipt. Now we need something in return. And I just pray to Allah that our brothers and sisters who know that they know the minister is their friend. They know the minister is not anti-Semitic. They know that many of them who have been attacked, he has defended. And they know he will die to defend them. So when they're called to account, pray Allah that they have the courage to say, well, we invited you to a table, but we're not, we're independent. We're not just because you don't like a person. We love our brother. So, I don't know why they did it, Brother Naba'a, but I know it's more to it than just a Black, Jewish, let's feel good meeting that was held.
Yeah.
They planned. They planned.
They absolutely planned.
As Allah plans, and He is the best of planners. So, inshallah, they will have the fortitude to withstand the assault when it comes.
Yeah, because, Brother James, again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said, as I hope we will as well.
Yeah, because this is the thing, brothers and sisters. Look, so the people that were part of this were the NNPA, National Newspaper Publishers Association President and CEO, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis, who also happened to be the National Director for the Myanmar March, by the way. And the other participants included U.S. Representative Deborah Wasserman Schultz, the Jewish woman we talked about, and then Sheila Cheflius-McCormick, Black Sisters, a congressperson out of Florida, and the ADL Senior Vice President for National Affairs, Max Sevillia, participated, and a professor emeritus of the Department of Psychology at Florida International University, Dr. Marvin Dunn, participated. Now, the thing that hit me, Brother James, was, one, if you're talking about the 60s, it's been 50 or 60 years, right? So if you're telling me that there was a relationship in the 60s between the Black and the Jewish community, you can't point to nothing 50, 60 years later that you have done, right, in terms of being our allies. Something's wrong with that, brothers and sisters. So I'm just going to say, so generally we talk about during the Black Power movement. During the Black Power movement, we had blacks who have sought greater self-determination and greater autonomy. People like Stokely Carmichael and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and they ousted whites, which included Jews, from their group, because these people had tremendous amount of influence because they gave most of the money, according to what I researched, and they held positions of leadership. So you go from there into the 60s to the 70s. Let me point out a couple things. In July 1979, Andrew Young, you remember him? He was the United States representative to the UN. He was forced to resign in August 2010 because he met with some members of the Palestinian Liberation Organization and Arab states about the idea of creation of a Palestinian state, which was something that the United Nations was discussing, right? Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency, illegally got a transcript of that meeting somehow. They gave it to Menachem Begin, and then through his office, they gave it to Newsweek. So look that up on the internet. It's right there. Let's look at the 1980s, right? In addition to the conflict between blacks and Jews in different parts of the country, places like New York, Crown Heights, in addition to problems we had with Jewish slumlords and store owners in the urban context. Remember when Jesse Jackson ran in 1984, right? There were Jews that opposed him and threatened him, brothers and sisters. And their chant was ruin, Jesse, ruin. While we were chanting run, Jesse, run. Why were they so much attacking Reverend Jackson? Because he was calling for a balanced policy in the Middle East, right? So this thing goes on and on. We can talk about Israel's support for apartheid in South Africa and giving South Africa nuclear weapons. We can talk about the mistreatment of Ethiopian Jews and the black Hebrews from Chicago that moved to Israel. We can even talk about one of the chief rabbis in Israel who called black people monkeys in March 2018. But see, beyond that, brothers and sisters, think about policy. In 2016, the Movement for Black Lives issued a policy position that called for an end to U.S. government expenditures for military and U.S. aid to the state of Israel. What's my point? My point, brothers and sisters, is this. They have an agenda, right? They have things that they think are important to them. They have positions that they take based on those issues, right? And they stick to those positions. Now, let me get to this one, because I think we really forgot about this one, Brother James. I'm not even going to talk about whites. I'm going to talk about Jewish involvement in the slave trades. I'm not even going to talk about that for now. But do you remember the 1978 Baki decision? That essentially, that definitely weakened and basically killed affirmative action. Right? Don't you know that Jewish groups, the ADL, the American Jewish Committee, and all of those groups were on the side of Baki? And do you know what one of their leaders said at the time? He said, well, he don't see a problem with black folks. Imagine that, brothers and sisters. And then, since the Baki decision was supposed to be about quote-unquote quotas, this same gentleman, one of the leaders of the ADL at the time, we're talking about around 1978, said that he could not see how you could have a policy like affirmative action where race did not become the predominant factor. What is my point? My point is, brothers and sisters, they press their agenda and they want us to fall in with their agenda. Don't we have the right to press our own agenda? That doesn't make us anti-Semitic. That doesn't make us anti-Jewish. It means we are an enlightened people now that are coming to understand what our own interests are. And we have the right and the responsibility to act in our own interests. That's just the way of the world. Mm-hmm. So we cannot bow down and kowtow to people. We got to be free, justified, and equal. And like you said earlier, Brother James, we can't be afraid.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And again, brother, I would just say, this is just the time to manifest. What side are you on? And again, I'm waiting to hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as I hope we all are, because that's where clarity will come from. Absolutely. Not only clarity, but to your point, brother, when there's an attack, we got to stand and oppose those who are attacking us. And that's why I'm so when you came up with the show, you said unapologetically pro Farrakhan. That right there tells you where this program, the stance of this program, because there's no stronger preacher for black people, or I won't even say black people, for humanity than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. There's no stronger preacher against injustice than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Of course, he stands definitely for the uplift of his people, the black man and woman of America, against any force that will come to destroy it. But in doing that, he's uplifting all of humanity. And there are forces that are controlling every institution, not only in this country, but in the world. It's not just America that this power is being exerted. It's throughout the whole world. And that's why we see what's going on with the wars and everything, because that's where we lean, and that's where the minister is fighting against. So to your point, brother, it was unfortunate. It was sad. It's actually saddening that kind of a meeting was held. I pray Allah, maybe Minister Brother Benjamin will be at Savior's Day inshallah, and we can probably get him on the show in the future to kind of give clarity to why that meeting was held. But of course, again, I pray that when the call is made, that all of those brothers and sisters in NNPA is able to stand up and resist the devil, so that he will flee from them. That's my prayer, family.
Yeah, I remember the minister saying once, I forget who he was referring to, but he was referring to a black businessman that had done so much good for our people. Mm-hmm. And he talked about these members of the Jewish community backing this man all the way down. Because you remember the power products, the economic program, the minister tried to get launched in the 80s.
They made the money out of the bank, man.
Oh, that's right. And we got money, and we got a $5 million loan, $6 million loan for Colonel Gaddafi.
Yeah.
And the minister took that money to a black bank, and the man at the bank called him and asked him to come take the money out. But the minister said to this businessman, he didn't stand up when it was time to stand up.
Yeah.
So now they backed him all the way down. I'm saying this, brothers and sisters, look, if you know the minister to be an upright, righteous, and I'm going to use that term, man, stand up. And don't let nobody get you to thinking or get you to wondering about him. This man has been teaching for longer than I've been alive. In the 62 years, I'm 62 years old. So at what point now? So we should not take the enemy side over a man that's been fighting for us.
Exactly.
We should not. We got to throw off that fear.
He has receipts of him fighting for us.
Brother, all the time. And like you said,
all the time.
I mean, not to mention, I'm going to try to get this in real quick because I know we're coming to the top of the hour. Brothers and sisters, AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, is spending listen to what I'm saying, $100 million to go after the members of the squad. And those are black. Did you hear me? Those are black and Latino lawmakers in Congress that are trying to make a difference. They are spending $100 million to get rid of them. Why do you think that is? They don't like the policy. And that's a corruption, in my view, of American democracy, because you got a small group determining literally the outcome of elections. For brothers and sisters, look, this is Straight Words. We're on WBON 1690. Stay tuned and come on back with us after this break, okay? Peace. Come on back now.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WBON, Berwyn, Chicago.
I'm Terry McCready.
And I'm Kevin Brown, and you're home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
President Biden is weighing options to retaliate against Iranian-backed militants behind the drone strike in Jordan that killed 3 U.S. soldiers and injured dozens more.
We will respond. We'll do that on our schedule, in our time, and we'll do it in the manner of the president's choosing as Commander-in-Chief.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby telling reporters Biden has been holding meetings with his national security team. He stressed the U.S. is not looking to engage in war with Iran, which has denied involvement in the attack. Reports suggest the enemy drone evaded U.S. air defenses because it was mistaken for an American drone returning to base. It marks the first U.S. troops killed by enemy fire in the Middle East since the start of the Israel-Hamas war.
The Pentagon has identified the 3 soldiers killed in the attack. The service members are identified as Sergeant Williams Jerome Rivers, Specialist Kennedy Langdon Sanders, and Specialist Brianna Alexandra Moffitt. All were black. Spokesman Kirby.
It's hard to imagine the grief that they're feeling right now and that they will feel for the rest of their life.
More than 40 additional service members were injured in the attack carried out by an Iranian-backed militant group. Defense Department officials say it's unclear if leaders in Tehran directly ordered the attack.
A Florida woman says her 55-year-old medically fragile father was falsely accused of theft at a Lakeland grocery store and then seriously injured in a violent encounter with police. The incident happened just days ago at a Save-A-Lot next to a laundromat, where Angelica Lee and her father Joseph were doing laundry when he began suffering from arm and leg cramps due to an infection. He walked to the store to purchase bananas and ate one on the way to the register, telling a white cashier that he needed to pay for 4, even though she only scanned 3, accused him of shoplifting, and then followed him outside, leading his daughter to retrieve a bat from her car, fearing for his safety. 6 police officers then arrived on the scene and ultimately tackled the man as he screamed he couldn't breathe and now remains hospitalized on dialysis after sustaining a kidney injury. The store owner is working with local authorities to investigate the incident.
There may have been more than 64,000 pregnancies resulting from rape in the 14 states with near total abortion bans since Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022. The Journal of American Medical Association Internal Medicine says researchers found the number dropped to nearly 0 in states with the strictest bans, suggesting victims couldn't access abortions in their home state, even when there was an exception for rape. Study co-author Carrie White, executive and scientific director for the renowned Research for Reproductive Health in Texas, says individuals are now being further undermined by policies that are making it difficult for them to make personal decisions and determine the trajectory of their lives after a traumatic event.
Schools are the 3rd highest for hate crimes in the United States. The FBI says as much as 10% of all reported hate crimes in 2022 occurred at schools across the nation. Secondary schools comprised of preschool to 12th grade had the highest rate of hate crimes from 2018 to 2022. According to the report, in 2022, there were more than 1,300 reported hate crimes at schools and college campuses, with nearly 900 at secondary schools that year. I'm Terry McCready along with Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Thank you for making MLK Weekend a huge success on Vine TV. If you missed the premieres of Speak Sister Speak featuring Cheryl Lee Ralph or Vine Talks, you can catch them both on demand on Vine TV. Coming soon, we're releasing our exciting February lineup featuring our Friday night of premieres and loads of interesting Black history content. And in the new year, Vine TV has got a new look. We're providing an easier viewer experience as you explore loads of our great digital content. Vine TV is easy to watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, WVON's app, or on any device at VON.TV. Vine TV is our culture on purpose.
Friday, February 23rd through Sunday, February 25th. Join the Nation of Islam for Savior's Day 2024. Sunday, February 25th, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has a message for the world to hear. Join us for Savior's Day 2024, live in Detroit, Michigan.
Black people of Detroit, Black people of America, Black people of the world, you are a very special people.
At Huntington Place Convention Center, located at 1 Washington Boulevard. For more information on Savior's Day tickets, registration, and hotels, log on to NOI.org/SD2024. NOI.org/SD2024. Savior's Day 2024. Huntington Place Convention Center, Detroit. Keynote address delivered by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Happy Savior's Day from the all-new Final Call Radio.
Hi, it's Chavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weeknights, 6 to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I'll bring a national perspective to all things happening in Black America. It's talk the way you like it, and it's why America is listening.
It's the legendary Chavis Smiley, weeknights at 6 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
We're in the new year with passion, vision, and commitment. Driving our weekly radio show, Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, Brother James G. Muhammad, and Brother B.J. Murphy. We're broadcasting on the historic WVON AM 1690, The Talk of Chicago, one of the few Black talk radio stations in America. And we plan to stay here, and we're asking for your help. Our Straight Words radio show is Black America's collective heartbeat, a space for Black voices, Black stories, and the Black struggle for true freedom, justice, and equality. We represent honest, spirited defenses of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan with clarity, accuracy, and bold truths. Make your strongest donation to help us via Cash App That's $StraightWords, $StraightWords on Cash App. Via Zelle, send your donations to 312-480-9775. And using PayPal, send financial support to StraightWords, 4, @gmail.com. And don't forget, brothers and sisters, tune in every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. to midnight Central Time on WVON AM 1690, or listen on the iHeartRadio app or WVON.com. Visit StraightWords.com for our audio archives and visit at StraightWords Media on YouTube for our videos and special features. We're black, we're strong, and we unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
What's up, Chicago? This is BJ Murphy. This is Naba'a Richard Muhammad. Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago. And we're streaming live on iHeartRadio and WVON.com. So again, that's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Straight Words with Naba'a Richard Muhammad and Brother BJ Murphy. And we are black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Hey, Alexa. Play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Brothers and sisters, all right.
Add it up, brother.
Right.
Add it up.
Add it on up, all right. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. You're back with Straight Words. Let's take Art. Then we're going to take Cliff. Then we're going to go to Uncle Bobby. Uncle Bobby, we're going to be with you shortly. Hold on. Let's go.
Hey, good evening, young people. How are you?
Good, brother. How are you?
All right. You know, my real concern is with our inner community and black people. And something I was thinking about that God laid on my mind is to ask about black family matter black people. Black family matters black people. Do black family matters to black people? I know we lost 3 young black, a man and a woman in some type of combat. But we also lost 2 17-year-olds downtown when some other black youths got out and shot them up. And all this weekend, you had black youth in cars, stole a man's car on 87th Street. He found it. He approaches his vehicle. 4 youths get out of the vehicle, start shooting the man. The man returned fire. We have so many problems in our own community. And that's why I'm standing on the Universal Community Code of Conduct and the Family Value System. I stand on that. I'm going to die on that until we deal with the internal problem, which is 75% of our problem. The external we won't be able to solve until we can deal with the black man, the black woman, and black children. So I say again, black family matters, black people. And we have to focus. And I say all those leaders and teachers and guys, those who have organizations, say whoever they say, until we come together and the youth, see, we sit our personal difference to the side and bring in the common man to sit down at the table with the talented pimp that you all call and come up with some structure to rebuild and restrengthen our black community. It's all going to be lost because we won't have any more black people to be concerned about. And I'm only speaking at this present moment about the city of Chicago. It is a travesty, the type of killing and murder and robbing that's going on in our own community. And I am what now, black people. And Brother Richard, Brother Daniel, Muhammad, Brother Daniel 5X, I believe, my brother, our father lost his life or passed away yesterday around 9:45. He is a registered active believer. And I had a very good father. You all met my father because he's been out to the mosque. And I know some people don't believe that I am a registered member, but inactive. And I worked at the final call.
Wait a minute, brother Art. What did you just say? You didn't say your father passed, did you?
Yes, sir. My father lost.
Oh, man, brother, I'm very sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah. And Brother Daniel is a registered
sorry to
believer.
hear that.
He does need for you all to reach out to him. So,
okay, wait. Who is Brother Daniel?
Daniel 5X. Me, my brother Omar, Brother Arthur 6X, Brother Daniel 5X. We used to have the cleans service. I used to clean at the final call. We used in the Pioneer building. We had the hardware store, and he had the studio upstairs. So you all know Brother Daniel. And brother, you know me personally because I have.
I'm very sorry to hear about the passing of your father. Absolutely. May Allah bless you and your family. We'll reach out to Brother Daniel and we'll reach out to him directly, but we'll let you know and you can let him know.
Yeah,
if there's anything we can do, let us know. And then go ahead, Brother James.
No, I was asking, let us know when the service will be held. I'm sure we'll find out from Daniel, but just in case, if you know when it is and where it is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But thank you, all you and your family will be in our prayers, man. All right.
Yes, sir. Allah continue to bless.
Yes, sir. Let's go to Cliff. Cliff, thank you for holding. Uncle Bob, you don't go nowhere. We're coming to you in a minute.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. I'll try to be brief. My prayers to our brother Art and his family, and the loss of his loved one. And I want to just piggyback off of Brother Art by also saying, too, brothers, again, I am a Christian, born in the Baptist church, the whole 9 yards. Even father was a clergy. And I say that to say this is that, and again, I'll share this with you. During the Martin Luther King celebration, we had the collaboration of black preachers with the Jewish rabbis, the whole 9 yards. And it was embarrassing, and I got to say this, it was embarrassing to have this whole event in a black church and then have the Jewish rabbi talk about the war in Israel, and then the whole notion that the chosen people, because this comes up in the Christian family, the chosen people of God, okay? And when the chosen people of God is brought up, black folks, along with Jewish people, and other white Christians, they always look at these individuals as the chosen people. And so not negating the real Hebrew Israelites, which are black people, the true Jewish people, which are black people, that's never brought up. And the problem is, my brothers, is that we as black Christians even get brainwashed and influenced by that propaganda. And so I look so forward into listening to the Minister Louis Farrakhan because he has the courage to speak the truth. And where our black preachers lack that courage, and just go along just to get along for the sake of Christianity, you know what I'm saying? It's just not right. So I just say that now, and let me close by saying this, is that we're not talking about all Jewish people. But again, Brother Naba'a, you mentioned in terms of the history of those elite so-called Jewish people that are not on the righteous path, and they influence and negatively impact the black community, even their own. And so all I'm simply saying is that I value, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And let me make this last point. Can a black person be racist? That's the question. Now, I'm asking that. I'm looking for an answer.
I say no.
Absolutely.
I say no. I say a black person can be prejudiced, but they can't.
Right. And even with that, we ain't prejudiced because we dislike the history that's been perpetuated and put on us by white people. So if anything, we got a legitimate excuse. But in terms of being racist, we cannot be racist. So still to this day, I have white Christians and white people. First, they call me a racist when I challenge them. But then when I ask them, but here's the real truth. When I ask them, can they name me another well-known or national racist besides myself? And this is where they get stuck, right? Because they always want to flip the narrative. Guess the first thing that comes up? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And when I ask him why, who has he oppressed? Who has he? What ethnic group has he oppressed? What group has he enslaved? I get none of that. And the first thing they say, he hates Jewish people. You know what I mean? So there's so much negative rhetoric coming from the enemy, but yet we as black people, as black Christians, get caught up with that, man. So I look forward, and to Art's point, black people, if he wants to change, the Nation of Islam has already been an example. They have already set the blueprint. So all people got to do is to convert and accept and embrace the teachings of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, and our problems will be 100% cured and solved. Just make that sacrifice and embrace the teaching. You can't make people, brother. Let me make my last point. We can't make brothers and sisters in Chicago, in Philadelphia, in Connecticut. We can't make them to be righteous, but it's up to them to surrender and gravitate and make that sacrifice to adhere and accept the teachings, and we'll be a lot better than what we are. Does that make a little bit of sense, brothers?
Yeah, I was just going to add, I agree with everything you said, but they don't have to convert. All they got to do is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says: accept your own and be yourself, just like you did. You say you're
exactly. Just
you didn't. I understood what you were saying, but just to be clear, just accept your own, be yourself. You are a righteous Muslim. Muslim is just an Arabic term. Don't get it twisted. It's just an Arabic term that means that someone who submits to the will of Allah, just as you have, and just as many of our Christians and brothers are trying to do, and as I am trying to do. That means I'm a Christian as well. And so, because I want to be crystallized in Christ, and I feel I'm following Christ. So, let's not get the terms too mixed up and stop the division which benefits the enemy. That's what Satan does. He divides before he conquers. And he's been doing that all over the world since he's been in power. So,
absolutely. In closing, brothers, please check the Cash App, because I did make my donation, my little donation, so I do that.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu
alaikum, brothers.
Wa alaikum salam. And so, okay, let's go to, let me do this real quick. Then we got to get Uncle Bob, because he's been waiting. So, Anita, you're going to have to hold for a few, okay? Look, brothers and sisters, we really need your help tonight. The man with the golden voice who generally asks you for support is not here, so I guess you have to put up with me. So look, if you like the content, if you like what we're doing, if you like what we're saying, if you like our strong defense of Minister Farrakhan, our strident defense, if you like the fact that we're committed to bringing light, life, and power to our community, you can help us, and we need your help because we got to pay these bills. You can go to StraightWords on Cash App, okay? Cash App, $StraightWords. Cash App, $StraightWords. Make your strongest donation on Zelle. 312-480-9775. That's Zelle. 312-480-9775. PayPal, send your donation to StraightWords and the number 4 at gmail.com. StraightWords4 at gmail.com. Hey, and if you got Apple Cash, I'm coming into the 21st century. If you got Apple Cash, 312-480-9775. Let's bring in Uncle Bobby, who's been waiting patiently. Look, Cephas Uncle Bobby Johnson is a founder with his lovely wife, Sister Beatrice, of the Love Not Blood campaign. They're based in California, but they literally, brothers and sisters, serve families all over the country who have lost loved ones to police violence and at times community violence. Also, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced late last year that he had appointed Uncle Bobby. He's the uncle of Oscar Grant, who was killed by a transit cop New Year's Day, 2009, by BART, Police Bay Area Rapid Transit police officer. His name then was Johannes Mesley in Oakland, California, to a police accountability board. The unfortunate killing of brother Oscar Grant III was one of the first killings of a black man. It may have been the first to be caught on cell phone video when it happened. So this police officer standards accountability advisory board. This is a 9-member board that was created by the California State Senate and signed into law by the governor in 2021. Uncle Bobby, welcome to the show. Thank you for holding. Uncle Bobby, you there?
Assalamu alaikum first.
Sorry for having you hold so long.
Wa alaikum salam. Yes, thank you. Listen, I need about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to come back on. Just give me 5 minutes, and I'll explain in a minute.
No problem, brother. We'll take Anita, and you let us know when you're back, okay? All right, thank you. Okay, so if Anita's still holding, let's bring Anita into the conversation. Okay, Anita, come on in. Come on in. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. I called tonight because I always go to sleep early, and I'm an hour ahead of you all here. But I grew up in the Chicago area. I appreciate Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what happened and what he was doing. But we have to remember that was a temporary move. He was, as the Christians say, he was standing in the gap for the people who didn't have family, and fathers especially, to pull them together as a person after slavery and move forward. And we're not, like Art is saying, we're not grasping the concept. We're still living like wild dogs out in the field somewhere, attacking each other and not becoming a family unit. I mean, after slavery tore us apart, you can't live like an animal because you're a human being. And the man gave us the structure. Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan is finishing it. Minister Farrakhan is, probably near departure of this earth. And what we're going to do, we got to do something because the world is confused. You got Israel over there pounding people and killing people. The Christian white male is just absolutely out of his mind. He'll just do whatever anybody tell him to do, so he doesn't understand his own faith. Elijah Muhammad understood a man and what a man was supposed to do, and he's teaching the world right now. I have to have you men step up. We need you at these food pantries, and not for Mexicans. We need you there for just American people, blacks included, that don't have homes, can't afford food. The Nation of Islam is going to have to show up at these pantries with the churches running them. I'm at Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where Michael Jordan went to school. This town is dead unless it's basketball season and the Tar Heels are playing. Michael Jordan is still supporting this whole community here, and they're building like wildfire around a man playing basketball. Okay, Duke is here and all of these places. I need the Nation of Islam men to start showing up at some of these shelters and the hospitals for going through COVID and supporting the community as Americans as they should, because the Christian white man is just not available. He's not even on track on what's going on. He's teaching young babies in kindergarten how to be, homosexual. That is totally not nothing we need to go through. Elijah Muhammad brought us so much farther than that. And I done raised 6 children through a man who went to school in Elijah Muhammad School in Chicago while he was living. And they've all gone to college and regular schools and got scholarships, academic. Elijah Muhammad was the bomb. You hear me? And nothing else is happening in this world right now. Israel is killing children. And talk about they religion.
That's right.
Elijah Muhammad would never do that. And they talk about him having all these wives. Back then, men married early because they knew they would have children. All right, the men today don't even want one woman. They want a man or a puppy or a dog or something stupid, probably.
Wow.
You all got to get it and start at the places where people are feeding people, because I think that's going to be the next move. That somebody needs to be there as a man, because they got women running this, and white women do not know what they're doing. They don't have no tolerance, no patience. That's not how you raise a family, with a woman that don't know what the heck she's doing and let her husband butcher and slaughter people's children and rape women. You can't deal with that.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say. Art, I'm going to hurt Art. He did not let me know about his dad. I'm really mad at him. I'm going to call him down.
All right. Thank you, sister. Love you too. So, yes, I mean, brothers and sisters, look, sister spoke a lot of truth. A lot of appreciation for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what he brought to us. We have to look into it.
And it is bringing to us.
And it's bringing. And we have to, we got to look into it, brothers and sisters. Because she's right, the world has gone to hell. If you're looking for answers from your slave master, you're wasting time. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a sense of being insulting. I'm saying you're looking at a man that his whole world is falling around him. This country may not last through the next election. So if he can't save himself, how can he save you? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was going to add one observation is on our Sunday meetings, you have a lot more brothers in the lecture than you do sisters, and in the church, when you observe it, you really have a lot more women than you have of men. And so, as you look at that, you have to kind of question, okay, what is it? And then, I think, and we pretty much know that the men are going to be gravitating. If they gravitate toward religion, they're going to gravitate toward the strength of Jesus, toward the warrior representation of Jesus, than the more so than the one that they present to us of love, which is only because they want us to love the enemy as opposed to understanding what Jesus really stood for. So to the sister's point, to make men, you got to have a strong representation of a man. And when our brothers gravitate more toward the nation's perspective of religion and truth of Jesus, because pretty much the nation's teaching is the warrior view. It's love and the warrior view, but more so the warrior view of Jesus as a protector, as a friend, as opposed to how some would say a milquetoast lover of everybody that is taught in the church, as well as the white representation of Jesus in the church. So, and that's, I think, what the sister was also appealing to. Just more men to stand up and be strong. So she was saying, basically, come to the mosque on Sunday and get taught, basically.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we know, right? We know that when they taught our people the Bible, they taught them very specific scriptures, brothers and sisters. Did you know they had slave Bibles? Did you know that? So look it up. In other words, they took the Bible. They pulled out the verses, slaves, obey your master. If he take your coat, give him your pants. Turn the other cheek. All of that, all of those kinds of teachings of Jesus. And they put them and they preached to our people from that. But you always had those like Matt Turner, right? And Nat Turner felt like, well, if Pharaoh could be slain in the old days in the Bible, I can slay the Pharaoh in the modern days, right? So it's important, I think, Brother James, and this is one of the things. And inshallah, we will be getting to this in coming episodes during Black History Month. We're going to do Black History Month, but we're going to do it a little differently. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to devote a show, probably 2 hours, to Black slave resistance. Do you hear me? We're going to get into what terrified the children of our slaves. Did you know, brothers and sisters, they were actually terrified of us? Did you know that? Did you know how many slave rebellions and insurrections there were? Because for me, Brother James, growing up, they don't teach you nothing about nobody who fought, right?
Yeah, basically.
Maybe you get Frederick Douglass, right? Where he fought, and I'm from Maryland, so I don't know if that's just a Maryland thing or what. But you know, Frederick Douglass, when he was a young man, they sent him to what they call the slave breaker, right? And Frederick Douglass broke him, baby.
Yeah.
But we don't get taught that. So I think we need to know that our people have always fought. There's always been someone among us who fought. So we should never feel like our people you got the Stono rebellion. Matter of fact, brothers and sisters, check this out. Man, I can't think of the name of this book. But I got a book on Audible. It's an audio book. Brother James, it talks about slave takeovers of slave ships. Slave rebellions on slave. So Senku and the Amistad wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
That wasn't the only one. And in the book, they talk about how they think, Brother James, that the documented cases, right, are really not accurate because the slave ship captains did not want to admit that they lost the ship because it was a slave revolt, right? How many jobs do you think you're going to get as a ship captain if the slave revolted and then took over your ship? So we definitely are going to get into Black history from a much different point of view.
And not only that, Brother Naba, why are they trying to take the teaching of Black history out of the schools? Period.
The little that we got. Right?
Yeah. And the misrepresentation of Black history that we've got, and it's only American, so-called American Black history. They don't even talk about global Black history.
Wow.
Or history prior to white history. And if there was history prior to white history, then how did white history come about? How did where did they get the knowledge even to make history? Because we know that they were out of the caves of Europe. So they coming out without knowledge. So how did they become educated? So, and so that's the history we don't talk about, because if we talk about it, we would have to talk about the greatness of Black people. And if you talk about the greatness of Black people, then you inspire the young 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old kindergarten Black young man and woman to understand that, hey, we just read about one of my ancestors that helped build great cities and who taught some of these Europeans that came down and gave them education. If you taught that to those kindergartners, how would they then view themselves, and how would they view the world, and how their contribution to it? So, I mean, like you said, the white man was afraid of us and still is afraid. That's why you get the reaction when the police approach a Black man. They don't see a human being; they see someone to be feared. And like that, the news item we just heard, where this elder brother, he needed potassium, so he ate a banana before he went up to the counter, and he was telling the lady, charged me for 4 because I ate one. Right. And she's talking about you shoplifting or something, and called the police, and they beat the man, put him in the hospital because they ruptured his kidney or something. That's because of the fear. When they just see a black man, they don't see a black man. They see an animal. That's coming out of their past history. So, brother, yeah. So, I mean, that's why separation is the only answer. The only answer.
Brother James, you talked about the history before there were white people. So, look, brothers and sisters, check this out. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that we're the first people. So at one time, there were no white people on the planet. He teaches that they are 6,000 years old and that they are not natural to the planet. They came out of a system of grafting, right? Until you got the white man with the blue eyes. You don't believe me. Muhammad, you just making that stuff up. That's why I can't get with y'all Muslims. Okay, I'll tell you this. Go into the chat, okay? Go into the chat because I'm going to show you something from October 4th, 2022. It says every blue-eyed person on earth is a descendant from one single person, scientists find. All blue-eyed people descend from a single human who lived around 6,000. You hear that, Brother James? All blue-eyed people descend from a single human who lived around 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. So when we talk about history, brothers and sisters, and the intent of Black history was good, because it was started by Carter G. Woodson. And he was trying to get us out of the miseducation, right? But we have to understand that look, man, let me tell you, hey, Brother James, you know what?
What's that?
I have very few memories. When I was like really young, very few memories growing up. But one that I do have is going to the Black Panther Party headquarters in Baltimore. And I used to read these Golden Legacy comic books, Brother James.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like comic books that it was like, I read the story of Christmas Adams, the first that died in the Revolutionary War. I read about Dr. Daniel Hill Williams, the creator of the blood plasma transfusion procedure that saves lives to this day. I read about Frederick Douglass, right? I read about Robert Smalls. This was the brother, I think, in South Carolina, who literally stole a ship and sailed it from the Confederacy to the North. All of that really helped me, Brother James. And it made me question as a child what was going on with Black people. So we have to teach our children, and we can't be afraid, brothers and sisters, to teach them about the fighters and that they're in a fight. Because it's like I tell my children, look, you have to understand and be aware of the realities of the society, because if you're not, then you've got a greater likelihood that you're going to be victimized by it. So you got to know the truth so you can deal with it. Okay, let's bring Brother Lee in. Brother Lee, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Go right ahead. We can hear you. Go right ahead, sir.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Brother, I want to know, do you all plan to, in terms of the final call this summer, to be specific, I'm talking about the National Association of Black Journalists Convention that's coming to Chicago. Earlier today, they had the chapter president on the station, and he was laying out the itinerary of the delegates that are coming to the National Association of Black Journalists Convention that's going to be held in Chicago on July the 31st through August the 4th. And I guess my question is that I would like to know, particularly after I heard the itinerary, that they were going to be taking them to all the historic places here in Chicago, and they were going to have certain people from our community to come and do workshops and lectures and what have you. But what I didn't hear was what participation or what level they were going to introduce these journalists coming from all around the country, and if not from different parts of the world coming here this year here in July, right before the National Democratic Convention, which will be in August. I didn't hear what role that they had either was going to introduce them to this national headquarters of the Nation of Islam, and particularly the place where the final call is published at, and all of what that international newspaper means to our people all across this country, and particularly for people who are incarcerated that gets that paper and what have you. So my point is that I guess I want to know, is the final call going to play any kind of role in this basically international convention of black journalists? Because I think that have a platform, or for that matter, a series of things that you all could be very valuable in putting the word into some of these journalists and people who have these different broadcast mediums and platforms, and particularly to raise some issues in terms of educating our people. So I think it would be very vitally important for the final call, in my opinion, to have a role, to have a very significant role in any itinerary of that many people coming from all over the country, if not from all around the different parts of the world, as it relates to our people. And I think that the final call needs to have a very significant in doing some type of workshop, lecture, or for that matter, some type of program, delegates when they come during the month of July the 31st through August the 4th, because this will be a lead-in to the National Democratic Convention that is coming here August the 19th. And so with all these black journalists, if you would, coming to this town from all parts of the country and different parts of the world, I really feel that it would behoove them, and if you all are affiliated with them, that you all definitely should have be on any itinerary of what they're going to do. And so I'll just hang up and hear you all's answer. Thank you very much, brothers.
All right, thank you, Brother Lee. First of all, it's a great idea. So, Brother Lee, I'm going to be honest with you. We active. Actually, we have been active at all in recent years. Brother James was very active back in the day. I think he was a vice president or something at one point. So we will, but thank you, Brother Lee, for bringing that to our attention. I promise you, we will reach out and collaborate with our brothers and sisters. But we think that's a great idea. I have to say, Brother Lee, on where I need to be better. It's one thing to show up at the party and say, well, somebody got to plan the party, somebody got to put up the decorations, somebody got to buy the food and all that. So we will start by seeing if we can be of service, and then we'll see if there's some way we can participate. But beautiful question, brother, with our brothers and sisters from around the country.
I would add this, Brother Naba'a. It's almost, if we show up, especially in this, almost like the rebellious slave, so-called slave, showing among the field. I'm not trying to throw shade at our brothers and sisters
You mean the rebellion, the house Negroes?
Yeah, there you go. And thank you, brother. I'm not throwing shade, but it's just a fact of see some who try to raise their voice on some of these cable shows and some of these other publications, and they get pounced on. Speaking out on the Gaza-Israeli war, they get pounced, they get dismissed, etc. So you know if representatives of Farrakhan will show up, but not only show up, have a meaningful role, that they're going to call to the carpet, basically, to the carpet, and they're going to be shown some receipts, and they're going to ask to make another on their behalf. And so that's just the reality. Like Brother Naba'a said, I definitely participated back in the day. The minister actually, he spoke to him. I don't know if it was, I know at least once. And man, Allah just hard, and he just let loose with truth.
Wow.
And that's what happens especially if you get one of his ministers, and they have to speak the truth. But I love the idea, and I think Brother Naba'a, that's what should happen. Just participatory in the NNPA. Maybe we can get to the Black Journalist.
Very good. All right, let's bring in Uncle Bobby. We've been waiting for him. Uncle Bobby, you there?
Yes.
Walaikum salam. So we are talking now with Brother Cephas, Uncle Bobby Johnson of Love, California. But he and his lovely wife, Sister Beatrice X, affectionately known as Aunt B, serve families of those who violence literally around the country. Governor Gavin Newsom, California Governor Gavin Newsom, announced Bobby, who was the uncle of Oscar Grant III, who was killed by a transit cop, New Year's Day 2009. One of the first of these tragic, painful, devastating incidents to be caught on video to a police accountability board. So the Peace Officers Standards Accountability Advisory Board, this is a 9-member body, was signed into law by the governor in 2021. Uncle Bobby, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'll just share this. It was interesting because as you just shared that appointment by Gavin Newsom, I was getting ready to introduce me the first time around. There was a bang at my door, so I opened the front door, and there's police officers. Just as you were saying, Uncle Bobby been appointed to the Peace Advisory Board. So I don't know if they made the connection, right? Because I don't to these police officers. But anyhow, there was a shooting somewhere close to the avenue, and I don't know how they know I have. So they were asking me if they could have an opportunity to look at the camera to see if they can figure out who. They came right past the front of my house.
Wow.
But I had brought the phone with me when I opened the door. And then all I could say basically in front of them was, I'm going to come back after about 5 minutes because I wanted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which was interesting. Hey, but, I did want to, because I heard some of the conversation, I did want to comment on the about.
Yeah, go ahead.
In November, on 8th and 9th of November 2019, and the wife, Auntie B, was a part of a reenactment of the largest slave rebellion that happened here in the United States. It's the 1811 right? And it was a 2-day event where we had to walk 26 miles. We retract that the black folks that were enslaved at that time getting ready to raise against the system, right? And so we reenacted that, and it was like close to 500 to 600 people from all over here we were dressed in slave clothing, given and there was a mini military force that was also set up, in that day when the rebellion took place. One roof. Then we had the brothers that were the horseback riders. We had about 30 horseback brothers. I'm talking about that were on horses, that knew how to ride horses. That was real sharp how it was done. And we marched 26 miles into the city of. And the way we were received, it was just awesome. But going through those neighborhoods, man, put fear in the white folks because they didn't know what. That was a hell of an experience. But I'm saying all that to say that the essence of what reflected in time was so empowering, right? Slave, but we did rebel in such a way that, yes. And so I just wanted to kind of lay that out, that I'm not sure if the brother, his name happened to be Dred Scott, directly related to the actual Dred Scott, but, in some ways they're connected. It was a huge success. You could Google reenactment of the 1811 slave rebellion, and you're going to see and hundreds of others from all across the United States reliving that enactment. Very powerful. Inviting me to the show. Man, I think I hear them policemen knocking at my door again. But anyhow, thank you for inviting me. And definitely talking about SB2, the decertification legislation that we were able to get passed, and the fact that we're able to maintain those two positions, one to the violence of police, and one impacted family member who was impacted by the police may be incarcerated, a family member hurt by the police. The police union fought like hell here in the state of California to make sure that we didn't. Nuisance was able to stand strong enough with our encouragement, right, to the advisory board that we have been selected to. Let me tell them, I got to come back. Just hold. If you can hold 1 second.
Yes, so brothers and sisters, we're talking with.
No, I still need at least 15 more minutes.
Trying to figure out what's happening. And his wife is okay. The police want access to video camera or something, so please take care of that. So don't. Bobby, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm back, man. Yeah, I don't know. These are much of our business, but
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I wanted to ask you. A decertification bill. What is that?
Oh, okay. Let me give a backdrop.
Okay.
Of police around this country, it's not the bulk of them that constantly repeat offenders, right? They kill one place, they might kill in the same city of Oakland, two, and wounded a third, and decide it's time to move to New York. Go to New York and get hired around team that actually do killing, then kill again, and then maybe leave New York and go to Texas. So from the policing agencies throughout this country. And so we were trying to figure out how to plug that. Our Senator Bradford, who has really been working with us on various pieces of legislation that are, in the state of California. And so he helped champion the bill. Our organization was part of the co-sponsor. The language of the bill, in addition to what the makeup of the bill would look like, or the actual the journey. It's centered around making sure that SB2, Oakland or Sacramento or Los Angeles, in such egregious way that, meaning that he is no longer able to carry a firearm in the become a police officer of law, right? And so to prevent him from being that wandering officer, decertification index database that also is not required by federal legislation, but should that has been decertified for those egregious acts, specifically murder, sexual harms, and what was the other one? There's 4 purviews, but to that national database, so that when they look to get hired in New York database, and if their name pops up in the national database, it will say they decertified in the state of California. He was so egregious in his act that he is not warranted to ever be a police officer in the state of California, so he shouldn't.
Let me let you put a pin in it right there, because we're coming to the top of the hour. So we're going to do a break. I don't know what you want to talk about, but I think that this conversation you're having is so important. On WVON AM 1690, look, we need your support. Cash App, $, Zelle, 312-480-9775, and PayPal. .com. Stay tuned. We got more from Uncle Bobby. Then we got a special something on Global News. Barney Muhammad. Keep it locked, as my brother Anthony Shaheed would say. But come on back after this break.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WV.
I'm Terry. President Biden is weighing options to retaliate against Iranian-backed militants behind the drone strike in Jordan.
We'll respond. We'll do that on our schedule, in our time, and we'll do it in the manner of the president's choosing as commander-in-chief.
Its national security team, he stressed the U.S. is not looking to engage in war with Iran, which has denied U.S. air defenses because it was mistaken for an American drone returning to base. It marks the first U.S. war.
The Pentagon has identified the 3 soldiers killed in the attack. The service members are identified. And Specialist Brianna Alexandra Moffett, all were black. Spokesman Kirby.
It's hard to imagine.
Service members were injured in the attack carried out by an Iranian-backed militant group. Defense Department officials
Says her 55-year-old medically fragile father was falsely accused of theft at a Lakeland grocery store and then at a Save-A-Lot next to a laundromat, where Angelica Lee and her father Joseph were doing laundry when he began and ate one on the way to the register, telling a white cashier that he needed to pay for 4 side, leading his daughter to retrieve a bat from her car, fearing for his safety. 6 police and now remains hospitalized on dialysis after sustaining a kidney injury. The store owner
more than 64,000 pregnancies resulting from rape in the 14 states with near total abortion bans. Internal Medicine says researchers found the number dropped to nearly 0 in states with even when there was an exception for rape. Study co-author Carrie White, executive and scientific director, further undermined by policies that are making it difficult for them to make personal decisions and
is for hate crimes in the United States. The FBI says as much as 10% of all reported hate crimes preschool to 12th grade have the highest rate of hate crimes from 2018 to 20. Reported hate crimes at schools and college campuses, with nearly 900 at secondary schools. That the Black Information Network.
Thank you for making Sister Speak featuring Cheryl Lee Ralph or Von Talks. You can catch them both on demand on of premieres and loads of interesting Black history content. And in the new year, Vine TV of our great digital content. Vine TV is easy to watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Vine TV is our culture on purpose.
Hi, Chavis. I'll bring a national perspective to all things happening in Black America. It's talk the way you like it.
PM of the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Information on Savior's Day tickets, registration, and hotels. Log on to org/SD2024. Savior's Day 2024. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Happy Savior's Day.
What up, VON? It's your boy, it's Kendall Moore. I'm from the 90 AM, that is, 7VON. Cheers.
Radio show, Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, Brother James G. Muhammad. The Talk of Chicago, one of the few Black talk radio stations in America. Collective Heartbeat, a space for Black voices, Black stories, and the Black defenses of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan with clarity, accuracy, that's $StraightWords, $StraightWords on Cash App via And using PayPal, send financial support to StraightWords, the number to midnight Central Time on WVON AM 1690. For our audio archives, and visit at StraightWords Media on YouTube. Unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
On cable TV. Now hear his spirited conversation on the Talk of Chicago. Every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik.
It's all about great food and service at Let's Eat to Live. Life-giving meals prepared with love. Veggies, fish, chicken. We got good food for your soul at 621 East 67th Street. That's 6549. Or visit the website, Let's Eat.
Muhammad. Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVOA. And it's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's straight. Unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Hey, Alexa.
From iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening.
Are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation.
We are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Naba'a Muhammad. Josephus, Uncle Bobby Johnson of the Love Not Blood. Of California. He was talking to us before the break. From jurisdiction to jurisdiction after killing many. So does every police officer work as a peace, quote unquote, peace officers?
There's a police commission where these officers are completion of that training, they're given a license specifically in the state of California, 99 have been certified by the Post Commission, meaning certification from Post because they're to get clarity on why not. But to be an officer in the state, Post is the only certification, the advisory board that I'm on, but prior to that, I longer work for any policing agency in the state of California. Up to the Post to actually supply those. My complete understanding is that there's no federal regulation national database. This is of course, Biden came on talking about they created a have better transparency and accountability. Okay. Of course, we can talk about that later. The order number, I forget the order number. How to utilize and make some idea. And maybe they are, but they're still not doing enough. Agency to report to the national database. As far as I'm concerned. And I guess,
as you fight this fight, as we tools that we can use. So, piece of standard training, and the there's not a federal agency. Okay, go right. States. Exactly. Of course, I know a little bit about Chicago's, but what you call a post peace officer standard. Post division that was created with our bill. That was involved in a shooting.
was a justifiable homicide. But we still got to unravel. And the division said it was justified. Make a determination on whether by majority vote police officer standard training with investigation, and they can but still do the investigation. Years ago, I forget the number. Wow. All police shootings in a shootings that occur in the state of California. So, for homicide, so it's a work in
their recommendation.
Exactly.
Can investigate it or whatever. So the evidence that the internal and that you or not.
Ability to investigate all criminal investigation of but it does in many they come back below us say that this certified based on that comes to us. But his license be yes.
No. His decision.
I'm assuming lower. So
D is more of a
yeah. Sort of. Rights, and they convicted an officer of civil rights violation. And because they was convicting him of civil rights violation, he went on and also begged for, it was more of a plea to accept some criminal charges that would hopefully lessen his time. He ended up getting 20 years. But he got 20 years of investigation of civil rights violation. So here we go. The Internal Affairs here investigates an officer for a criminal act. It's a criminal charge. The DOJ that picks up these cases investigates these police shootings for more of civil rights violation. Right. And that could bring 20, 30, 40 years also. So the officer could be found guilty basically on a DOJ charge of civil rights violation, right?
And not a criminal.
Right, and not a criminal. You see, but the bottom line is the investigation will reveal that there was a wrongful act committed by the police officer, and thereby it should trigger with post an automatic decertification.
Okay.
You see, so I mean, all this is in the making for us. Who knows what it's going to look like next year? Because you know how the system is. Now, I'll say this: the United States, California is one of the last states to actually have decertification brought forth in legislation in its state. So every state in this country, at least 45 of them, I think it's 4 left that don't, but 45 states have some form of decertification. Some forms are much more weaker than others, and some are stronger than others. And I'm not sure where ours sit at in that spectrum yet, but we do have, I think, some more accountability when it comes to police officers in their egregious act of shooting in the state of California, because it's no longer just internal affairs and post-commission.
Yeah.
It's now the post-automatic internal division, and it's also the advisory board that I sit on, and it's also the DOJ now. So we have about 4 layers that when it finally gets to the administrative judge or the administrative law judge that will hear that officer's final plea to keep his job, they will have to reflect what happened internal, what happened with the division, what happened with the advisory board, what happened with post, and even what happened with the DOJ.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so I'm believing that the administrative judge will be more apt to lean toward the preponderance of the evidence of these boards to make a decision on whether the officer should retain his job and get his license back. Because his license can be revoked before he actually has his hearing. His hearing was a due process, so he can have his hearing. And, I mean, of course, to me, if it's reversed by that judge, then we got a broken system. But I don't see it being reversed by the judge if everybody's agreeing that this was so egregious that he do not need to be a police officer.
Hey, Uncle Bobby, we got about 3 minutes. We're going to have to bring you back because, one, brothers and sisters, when you hear the brothers say DOJ, that's Department of Justice at the federal level, okay?
Yes.
So the Department of Justice is involved. Internal Affairs, that's the local police department, right?
That is correct.
And then so you got Department of Justice involvement, Internal Affairs involvement, then you got the commission that Uncle Bobby sits on, and then you have the post group under them. So he's talking about basically 4 different levels where we would be trying to seek some kind of accountability, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Compared to having only 2 years ago or just last year.
Yeah. So before it was only the
internal affairs
and the police chief, right?
Right. Well, internal affairs, yeah, you could say the police chief, but internal affairs and post. Because if you say internal affairs find the officer egregious in his act that he should be decertified, well, not decertified, but be fired, then post will actually automatically revoke his license because he just committed a felony. See,
really? They
now,
okay.
Right. That's automatic, because an officer that has a felony, especially based on the egregious act of it, we just say, he has a felony because he was a police officer, right? He running into the cars, he done killed somebody, and he claimed it was an accident, but he was under the influence of alcohol. Well, he could be automatically decertified by post, and post would decertify him because he may have shown a history of drunkenness on the job. So, so post has the ability to decertify even before we were created. However, it was more unlikely for post to decertify a drunken police officer or even an officer that was an egregious shooter unless he was convicted. If he was convicted and sent to jail, that means he received a felony. They automatically then have to decertify him. But the way it worked in the past, he may be fired. He might have been fired before he was decertified. That's how they got around it. Officers that are caught in the act normally would quit the agency. Their investigation will not proceed to decertify them. Then they'll move to New York and get rehired.
Yeah.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Well,
There was a loophole in there to get away from being totally decertified in the state of California. Well, they couldn't be decertified in the state of California, put it this way. They couldn't be acknowledged of the fact that they were arrested and committed a felony and was charged for the murder because they then quit and went on. And it was kind of like Johannes Medley that killed Oscar, In the state of California, they got what you call a non-revocable parole piece of legislation that was passed. And what that said was that if an officer was arrested for an egregious act like Mesley for shooting Oscar in the back. He goes to jail. He has no issues in jail. He gets out of jail, and for 1 year while he's walking the streets, he has no issue with the police. The felony automatically falls off his record. That means now he can put a gun back on his side. He could go get a job at a police agency anywhere in this country. That's what Johannes Mesley did that murdered Oscar Grant. People say, well, he has a felony. How he can get a gun? Well, California had a piece of law or legislation called non-revocable parole that's centered on a felon. You know, if I committed committed an act with a gun, I won't say murder, but I committed an act with a gun, but I, never been in trouble, pretty upstanding in jail, get out, never have no issue with the police for 1 year, I can then reapply to get that felony dropped from my record.
Well, hey, Bobby, we're gonna have to let you go because we gotta bring Brother Brian on. We already a half hour into his time. But man, there's so much I want to talk to you about. We have to bring you back. How can people reach you? Where do they go for information?
Right. So definitely you can go to our website at www.lovenotbloodcampaign. That's lovenotbloodcampaign.com. Or you can definitely hit us at 510-706-7558.
Hey, Uncle Bobby, get a number one more time. 510-706-7558. Very good. Man, thanks for that, brother. We'll be in touch, inshallah. We'll get you back. There's really a lot I want to talk to you about. Thank you for coming on and give my best to your family, okay?
I sure will. Thank you,
too. All right. Yeah. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, Brother Brian E. Muhammad, the final call. Do we have you in the queue? Can we bring you in, or we waiting for him to call? Let's take the call. Let's take the calls real quick. Real quick, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Brian been waiting. Let's go. Caller, are you on?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, JB.
JB, go ahead. We want you to speed it up a little because we're running out of time, unfortunately. But go right ahead. Sorry to have you hold for so long. Go right ahead.
That's okay. I'm enjoying the conversation. I understand. I'm an elder, and the stopping of police shootings is what I'm talking about. Traffic stops I use for non-compliance, and they get an opportunity to shoot whoever. They can shoot their own. And so, back in 1866 treaty of the indigenous people, if they bothered us, they would get their license revoked, and they would be sent back to Europe. 1866 treaty. And I understand this is kind of coming up now, and so you guys are setting a protective measure going to the legal system. But I think we need to go to the law enforcement and tell them that, we see you all are, they're shooting happy. They're killing my sister, they're killing anyone for running, whatever, tasing, whatever. And so 2024, and I'll stop talking, is stop shooting us.
Yes, sir.
That's all I want to say.
Thank you very much, Brother JB, for calling, man. Keep listening and call us back. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, you with us?
This is Reverend Tommy Nelson, and I just simply want to ask very quickly, because being mindful of your time. When will Black people accept the reality of now? Now, no more what King said, what Malcolm said, slaves, all that. Hey, man, when will we accept the reality now, because right now, the preamble of liberty and justice is just us. And all this business of all the so-called eloquence of the law enforcement, man, please. The only right a black person have when a police officer pulls up on them is to humble yourself and to understand and realize right then and there, if you got to lay down on the ground and have them consider you a psych patient, whatever you need to do to escape that scene is what you need to do, except for bend over or get on your knees. Now, hey man, all this other stuff is over with. These migrants, immigrants, border breakers, whatever you want to call it, whites, Hispanics, all that. And for the record, you need to understand something, black people. If you understood your history, you would know that the Mexican, Spanish-speaking people ain't never had no love for America, and it ain't because I'm a black man saying something against them. This is because what Santa Ana and Jim Bowie and all them fools did when they went down there, instead of trying to commiserate with the Mexican people and us live together in peace, they went down there and took their stuff. So let's stop all this craziness, and let me end with simply this. Because here's your reality, people. 1,000 black preachers is going to Washington, D.C. to demand that they stop the murdering of the Palestinian people. Really? If that ain't enough clue for you to wake up and understand the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, then let me just end with this. I, Tommy Nelson, will be ready on that day to protect you cowards and fools. Goodbye.
All right, my brother. Thank you. Brother Brian. Alaikum.
Brian, you get the award for the Patience Award.
Go ahead, Brother Jay. This is your segment, man. You take it from here.
How you doing, Brother Brian?
Listen,
ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is the great Brian Muhammad. He's also a world traveler. He's traveled the world not only with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, but with our great brother Akbar Muhammad. So he's very familiar with the international scene. He's witnessed very many great meetings, etc. And now he's our final call writer on international affairs. He's a great brother and our friend, Brother Brian. Thank you for waiting so long and being so patient. We appreciate you, brother.
No problem, brother. Never a problem waiting to talk to my brother.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate it, man, because you are on the East Coast, too, so I want our listeners to understand that. Yes, sir. But, brother, just what we want to do is have a conversation about some of the international affairs. There's a lot going on. I don't know where you want to start, but maybe let's start off with Gaza and what's happening there and how, particularly what we should be thinking about as black people as we look at, the affairs that's going on in Gaza right now. And then you can just bring up what you want to talk about and we'll go through it.
Yeah, well, I think it's important to start there. The last comment that the last caller made about the 1,000 preachers, they did an open letter to President Biden concerning ceasefire, and doing what they have to do or should do to not allow this war to escalate throughout the region. Now, we already see the skirmishes going on, even though the United States don't want to say that, when they were shooting into Yemen and the Ansar Allah organization, more popularly known as the Houthis, going after these ships and interfering with shipping lines. And then you have other resistance groups out of Iraq that has been shooting at U.S. personnel. military personnel.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to say that this doesn't have, you know, that it has everything to do with what's happening in Gaza, you know, but it does. It does.
Because
and so
the Houthis said they would stop if they would call a ceasefire, right?
If they would call a ceasefire.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and so when we talk about what should black people be thinking about, this move that these 1,000 clergy people made is major. And when you look at the list of people, it is all sorts of people, all sorts of reverends and, you know, that represent organizations and major churches throughout the country, and thousands of congregants. So now we're talking about, you know, what does this have to do potentially with November and the national elections?
Yeah.
It's because of this, what's happening in Gaza, the shock value that it has on the people, including black people here, that even though traditionally they have supported the Democratic Party, you know, they have this thing with the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
This war is putting a dent in the enthusiasm of black people just from the shock value of seeing over 26,000 people dying in these just last 4 months.
Yeah.
See, so this group, you know, this group of 1,000 clergy people is very important. And
are they going to be mostly black, or is this just a mixture? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but is it black ministers or is it?
These are black ministers.
Okay. Now keep going because I got something on that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, and now black people, why this should be important to us, because remember, Israel just got, you know, went through this first hearing concerning this charge of genocide.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wanted to lift up a man's name before you raise what you want to raise with me. William Patterson.
Yeah.
This is a black man from the 1930s, 40s era.
Yeah, with Paul Robeson. All right.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
You know, we charge genocide. And he was bringing our plight, black people's plight, before the international arena. So we have a similar story. We have a similar sentiment of why we should care about what is happening in Gaza, you know. And again, the shock value of what is going on, I think those of us that weren't interested before, we're feeling it on some level.
Yeah. And the reason I asked, are they black, Brother Brian? Because that's very curious to me, and it's like you said, that's going to be a heck of a picture of thousands of black people in Washington. I don't know, are they going to the Capitol or to the White House, whatever? And we're already.
I heard that part until tonight. Yeah. I just saw the open letters they sent to President Biden.
Oh, okay. I thought you said they're going to march to. They are going to march.
Yeah, the last caller said that, but again, I have not heard that personally.
Okay.
You know, everybody else is in the streets. If I can be very general, if everybody else is in the streets,
no, I googled them. When you brought it up, brother. I googled it. It does say some. I see headlines that say 1,000 ministers plan to march on Washington. Okay.
Okay.
So if that is so, that's wonderful. I mean, that's great for Biden to see that sea of black faces calling for a ceasefire. But what else could they call for, man? You know, if they could rally all of our people to do that, which we should and will do, I'm hoping that kind of force and power could be applied specifically to issues that many of folks that call on the show or are here on other programs are calling about, where it concerns black people and our plight and what we're demanding from the government. So that's the reason I kind of wanted to kind of double down on that, because it shows that our pastors can organize and get people into the streets. But like you said, it's connected to an upcoming election in an election year. But let's keep that kind of process going continuously so that we can really get some legislation and some results on the issues that we complain about, mostly because we don't get things that pertain specifically to black people. But okay, on that though,
I agree with that, and you know, yeah. what I would say, what I would add to that, because there are black people who feel that we should be focused on concentrating on anything but our issues. But we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
No, we can, and we have.
And the money, the money that the U.S. government is giving to Israel every year, we know that close to $4 billion without fail every year. I just came across something that I'm in the process of writing on concerning state governments that have been buying Israeli treasury bonds. You know, well, I'm talking about since this war broke out, specifically in their own language. The South Carolina state treasurer, in his own statement, I have a quote from him that where he said that he is purchasing these bonds, something like $300 million worth of treasury bonds, Israeli treasury bonds, and that was his way of not just supporting South Carolina as a state, income as for the state, but especially to support Israel's war against Hamas. He said this specifically. So how much of that $300 million could have gone to a failing school system right here in South Carolina, just as one example. So it's all tied together, and I agree with you that we have to take that to also lift up the whole. Our problem, as well as the problem of our Palestinian brothers and sisters who are suffering right now as we speak.
Yeah. My last question on Gaza before a few other issues before we run out of time. It doesn't seem like Netanyahu cares what Biden says, really. Because anything he says, Netanyahu is coming back, well, we're going to, I mean, he may be backing off a little bit now, but, we're going to see this through until Hamas is destroyed. So my question is it inevitable that America is going to, it's going to be not only in Afghanistan, but America will be in that area fighting a very hot war sooner than later because Netanyahu is not going to let this thing go. And the others aren't going to let up attacking American, ships, etc., unless they call a ceasefire, which Netanyahu is not really willing to do.
Right. Well, I would say that I don't. Netanyahu's in a desperate situation to try to save his political career. So he's like a cornered rat. He's going to jump out, and he don't care who or what at this point. Whether or not this is going to escalate into this war of all wars, well, to be honest with you, I'm waiting until February 25th.
Yeah, exactly.
What the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan is going to tell us from the great Mahdi and the great Messiah, etc. But, what we're looking at, Brother James, in my opinion, again, goes back to what the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has been saying, which this is a time of a universal cry, intensifying universal cry for justice. So what is happening is we're seeing things happen that we really didn't see happen in the way they're happening before. For them to shoot and to literally take the offensive against the presence of the United States with the idea of pushing America out of the Middle East, which is what the groups in Iraq, that was their aim. And we know from our teachings that this would be the ultimate situation that America will have to leave the Middle East. We may be looking at the steps as things unfold in front of us right now.
Okay. You can always come back to that topic, but I wanted to ask you about another thing, too. We saw that, well, at least I was hearing several of the countries withdrew from ECOWAS. In Africa, what does it stand for? Economic West African. I forget what it stands for.
Yeah, that's right. It's a regional body, economic community of West African states.
States. There you go. Yeah.
And they, last year. With the rise of the coups in Mali, the coups in Burkina Faso, Niger, that's right. They grouped themselves together, these countries, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and they formed this grouping, and they decided that they have to leave ECOWAS. And they feel that ECOWAS have lost its way. They say that ECOWAS is no longer, have Pan-Africanism in mind, you see. But it's interesting, Brother James, with that whole thing, because as ECOWAS has changed, and now you see countries who want to really fight for Pan-Africanism and self-determination, grouping themselves under that kind of wing and then leaving that kind of organization. It reminds me of the old OAU, which became the African Union. The reason why the OAU fell apart was because they lost the vision of the Kwame Nkrumahs and the Abdel Nassers and those the Ezekiels who put that together. Okay. And they lost their way. And so when Brother Gaddafi came and said that we will form an African Union,
or United States of Africa,
but for the United States of Africa, all of this was part of the a vision of a united Africa, a one Africa, a Pan-African Africa.
Right.
And the OAU went so far off the course. I was living in Ghana when Brother Gaddafi began to put this together of the African Union. And the man on the street was like, they didn't want to believe it because the OAU went so far off the course. You see? So this is what we're seeing with ECOWAS. We're seeing a breakup of something, and we're seeing countries who want to be free and independent of their former colonial and former slave masters, and the buffer, like what ECOWAS had become, they want to be free of these people, and they want to do their own thing.
Yeah. Well, it's something to watch because we get our news filtered through the Western eyes, and a lot of them try to paint some of these countries that are withdrawing as having type of like illegitimate governments that resulted maybe from coups, if I'm not correct. Some of them that resulted from coups, et cetera. So it's going to be interesting as that happens. But we only got a few more minutes. I wanted to bring up a couple more things, but I probably don't have enough time for one. I know you follow the BRICS movement, or you have been following it. I don't know how much, how up to date. So I understand that it's growing too. They've gotten some more countries to join. Can you just kind of talk about BRICS, what it is, what it means to the West particularly, and who's joining now?
Wow, it's a lot of people joining. Saudi Arabia has joined. A few others have joined.
Well, back it up real quick. Just give us an overview. What is BRICS, and then tell us who joined.
Okay, BRICS is it's a regional economic body made up of Brazil, Russia, India,
China,
in South Africa. That's BRICS. That's the acronym BRICS. And now they have opened it for other countries have joined on. Saudi Arabia has joined on. I think the United Arab Emirates. It's a few that have now come in, but they're trying to make it stronger because a lot of these countries are now trying to move out of the purview of the control of the United States in particular. You see, because of the amount of power that the United States wielded on the world stage, now people are moving away from that. They're forming
through the dollar, though, right? Is it through the dollar?
Including the dollar, including removing the dollar as the main currency of trade in the world. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like through the dollar is where they got it's the power mechanism, right? So they want economic liberation.
They want economic liberation. They do not want to live in a world where they are beholden to the United States government. And I'm saying it's not just happening with BRICS, it's happening all over the world. These new groupings are forming as a way to not just to hit back at America, but to say that we have to have a future where we are no longer told I have to answer to a recalcitrant power like the United States. And this is what we're watching. We're watching the disintegration of a great and former great power called the United States. And these are the moves that's being made.
You hear me? Hold on, I think I got a problem. Brother Brian, I know we got I hope the number is still on. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you, brother. Let's go ahead. We have about 2 minutes.
Okay,
I can hear
brother.
you. We got 2 minutes.
Okay, brother Brian. Sorry, man. We're gonna have to cut this short. I'm sure brother Naba'a is probably gonna get you back, and we appreciate your patience. We gotta let you go so brother Naba'a can get that money in here because he needs that money to keep this going. So, brother Brian, thank you very much. May Allah bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hey, brother Brian, before you go, where should people go to find you and follow you and get your work? Brian.e.Muhammad, that's Facebook, and at Global Peaks, and that's spelled Global P-E-E-K-S, on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And that's where I'm at. Other than that, you can go to the Final Call website and look me up. All of my articles are there, and that's where I'm at. All right, finalcall.com. Brian E. Muhammad, staff writer and global news expert. Thank you, brother Brian. Thank you, sir. Brothers and sisters, we come to the end of another great night. Thank you for hanging out with us. We hope that you got something out of it, and we hope that you want more. We want to bring you more, but we need your help to bring you more. So we need for you to make your best donation you can tonight, and on Cash App, go to $StraightWords, $StraightWords on Cash App. Go on Zelle 312-480-9775. Zelle 312-480-9775. PayPal, straightwords4@gmail.com. This is Straight Words. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. That's it. Inshallah. We'll see you next week.
Thanks to our engineer, brother DeMonte X. Assalamu alaikum.